Hello, welcome to Friday night yin. I'm Erin. I'll be taking us through practice today. We're going to use a block and a blanket for class tonight, and we're going to get started on our backs as usual. So go ahead and come down to your mat, choosing some kind of shape on your back that feels comfortable. Maybe taking a traditional shavasana or constructive rest pose with soles of the feet planted wide, letting the knees fall in together. And deciding where the arms are going to rest, whether that's alongside the body or resting on the belly or chest, or maybe overhead. And then as you make your way towards stillness, we'll let the eyes fall closed. Allowing the attention to turn towards the internal sensations of the body. And allowing us to just start noticing the activity in the mind, whatever that might be today and in this moment. And for now, just allowing it to be there without trying to change it or make it go away. Next, we'll start to bring the attention to the breath. And we'll begin just by inhaling and exhaling through the nose. And as we become accustomed to this rhythm of inhaling and exhaling through the nose, we'll start to bring some length into the breath. Inhaling to count 4 and exhaling to a count of 4. Equal part. Inhale and exhale. Helping create some balance in the body. Next, we'll lengthen out the breath a little bit more. Starting to inhale and exhale to count of 6. Slowing down the breath, slowing down the nervous system. Maybe even noticing your heart rate slow down as we elongate the breath. Next time you exhale, allowing all of the air to exit the lungs, breathing out fully. And then draw a deep, full inhale through the nose into the belly, rib cage, and chest. And this time we'll open mouth side out on the exhale. If you would like, you can gently blink the eyes open, allowing the breath to return to its natural pattern. And we'll just start to take some movements in the hands and feet. If you have not already, we'll extend the legs out long and let the arms fall out to either side of the body. And we're going to start by just bending and straightening the toes and fingers. So kind of crunching up the toes, making fists with our hands, and then opening the fingers and toes out wide. Kind of getting that scrunching, making a little ball motion, and then spreading, opening, stretching out as wide as you can. Feeling articulation in the little tiny joints with the fingers and toes. And then with the feet, you can start moving this into pointing and flexing through the ankles. Maybe starting to rock the wrists forward and back. And then eventually moving into making some circles through wrists and ankles, moving in one direction and then the other. Next inhale, reach arms overhead, stretching long through arms and legs. And then exhale to draw knees in towards the chest and just rocking side to side, massaging out the lower back. Maybe drawing some circles with the knees. On the ceiling. And then we'll send the left leg out long on the mat, strengthening through that knee. And then plant the right sole of the foot in, kind of close to the hips. And then just let the right knee fall out to the right side, coming into kind of a half butterfly shape here. And then we're going to reach the left arm long overhead. So we're creating a nice lengthening through the left side. And letting that right knee fall over, opening out the right hip a little bit. Right hand can rest on the belly or on the floor. Maybe bring it to the right thigh or knee if you want to add a little extra weight to that leg. And just settling into the breath here. Take one more inhale and exhale. And then we'll bring that left arm back alongside the body and switch out the legs. So drawing the left knee in close, sending the right leg out long. And then letting that left knee fall open to the side. The right arm comes overhead. And choosing where the left hand rests. Maybe noticing if this feels different from one side to the other. Maybe one hip or shoulder is more open than the other side. That is completely normal. We always end up with some imbalances just from how we use our bodies and what our dominant side is. I'll take one more inhale and exhale here. And then starting to release that left leg, bringing the right arm back down. We'll get the soles of both feet on the ground and pretty close to the hips. So knees bent up towards the sky. And then bringing arms long alongside the body, planting the palms near the hips. Start by feeling the soles of the feet grounded into the earth. The whole heel and ball mound of the foot. And feeling really strong through that connection. On an inhale, we'll start by pressing the hips up towards the sky. Letting the spine lift away from the ground. And then exhaling to roll back down to the floor. Hips coming down last. Again, we'll inhale to press and lift. And exhale to roll back down. One more inhale to lift. And exhale to lower. Now you can start adding in the arms if you want. So we'll inhale to lift. Arms will circle up overhead, coming all the way over the top of the mat. And then exhale to circle back down. Inhale to lift. Arms come up. And exhale to lower. Palms return to the earth. And let's move through a few more of these dynamic bridges on your own to match the pace of the hips and the arms. And we'll lift one more time, and this time we will hold at the top, and we're going to grab our block. And then choosing a height, probably the low or medium setting, we'll slide it right underneath the hips and sacrum. Setting up a supported bridge. And then the arms, again, either fall alongside the body, maybe bringing them out wide, and the chest open up a little bit. You can stay right here in your regular supported bridge, or you can play around with straightening one leg at a time. If you want to do that, it might help to bring your block down to a little bit of a lower setting than what you might normally do for your supported bridge. You straighten one leg, we'll switch to the other side. And then replanting the soles of both feet and the arms alongside the body for stability. On our next inhale, we'll press feet into the ground to lift hips away and pull the block back out before letting the spine roll back down to the ground. And then here we'll just send legs out long and roll right onto our bellies. I'll set the block aside for now. And coming down to the belly on the ground. We're going to come into that same bent leg shape that we were in before, but we're facing down this time instead of up. So set up, you can start by sending the left arm out overhead over the top of the mat. And we're going to bend the right knee up towards the hip, coming to maybe a 90-degree angle. And that foot can come in as closer as far towards the left thigh as you want. And here, it might help to just tuck a blanket or something underneath the hip of that bent leg just for a little extra support. And we can just let the head come down to the ground. Right arm can be bent or resting anywhere that's comfortable alongside the body. Taking one more full breath on this side. And then to come out, we can take out our blanket if you need to use that. And start to move into the second side, sending that right arm up overhead, right leg is long, and bending the knee, deciding how deep you want to move that. And then maybe bringing a blanket underneath the left hip. And settling into the mat, the head coming to the floor. And one more full inhale and exhale on this side. And we'll make our way out. That blanket back out from under the hip. And just line both legs out long. And back onto our bellies. And from here, we'll set up either a supported sphinx pose or a crocodile. For crocodile, you'll just cross the arms in front of you, stacking one hand or wrist on top of the other and letting the forehead rest on top of the arms. More for sphinx for a little bit more front body opening. We'll prop ourselves up on forearms with elbows right underneath the shoulders. And then we can bring a block under the forehead to allow the weight of the head to be held up. And just rounding the neck forward a little bit. Once again, finding one more full breath in this shape. And then removing any props from underneath the upper body. We'll plant the palms of the hands underneath the shoulders and then pressing into the mat. Make our way up to hands and knees. And then taking a few breaths just to get a little bit of organic movement, maybe little wiggles out. Maybe taking some cat-cows or side to side. Movements with the spine, rolling out the shoulders, maybe moving forward and back. And then finding stillness. From here, we're going to grab our blanket again, and we'll fold it up kind of thick. So making a little, giving it a little bit of height. We're going to place that right underneath the belly, the torso, in our tabletop position. And then from here, we'll step the hands out a little further in front of the shoulders. And then start to send the hips up and back. Bring the forearms down to the ground. And bringing the heart down to our blanket. Coming into a supported puppy dog pose. So here we're keeping the hips lifted away from the heels, some space still there. Now we're bringing the forehead and the chest down to the ground, and you can play around with the height of your blanket support. Taller blanket gives you more support. A lower blanket will give you deeper stretch in the shoulders. Knowing that you can always make adjustments in these poses if you want to back off of them a little bit or deepen the intensity at any point. It's your practice, and now just adjust as you need to so that it serves you. And take one more round of breath in our puppy dog pose. And then walking the palms back in a little bit closer, body, and then inhale, press back up to the tabletop position. And we'll exhale to sit back towards the heels and then cross at the ankles so that we come all the way down onto the sits bones. From here, we're going to send the legs up long in front of us. And if you want to bring the blanket under the feet, elevate the hips a little bit. Now is a good time to do that. We'll be doing a couple seated postures, so we'll be here for several minutes. We'll send both legs out long. I'll do this way. Get a side view. And flexing the toes back in towards the upper body, maybe having a gentle bend in the knees. We'll start just by finding a nice tall spine, sitting up nice and straight. And this might be where you stay today. If you're already feeling a stretch in the backs of the legs, the hamstrings, that's totally fine. But if you want to deepen the intensity here, you can start to walk the hands towards the heels, hinging from the hips, and coming as far forward as you can before letting the upper body round over the legs. Maybe connecting hands and feet if that's accessible for you. And if you're going to fold forward, I'd encourage you to bend the knees as deeply as you need to so that the belly can actually touch the thighs. Will be much better for your lower back that way. Finding our forward fold. And if if you want to use your block as a support in some way, totally welcome to. Maybe as a support for the head, maybe underneath the knees, or if you have another blanket, you roll that up under the knees. Breathing into the back, and the backs of the legs. In these forward folding shapes, always thinking about keeping the pelvis racked forward so that we're not rounding way too much through the lower back. As you get deeper into the fold, there will inevitably be some rounding, but kind of think about sending the sits bones towards the back of the mat and tilting the hips towards the front of the mat will help keep some stability and support for the lower back. We'll take one more full breath here. Deep exhale. And then planting the hands alongside the legs. On an inhale, we'll press back up to a seat. Then taking out any props from under the knees. We're next going to bring the soles of the feet together to touch, bending at the knees, so coming into that butterfly position, full butterfly this time. Knees are open out wide like a book. Heels can be in as close or not to the hips as is comfortable for you. And you might play around with that, but we'll change the sensation and where the stretch is a little bit. And again, we'll start with just finding that nice tall spine. Thinking about rocking the pelvis forward so that instead of rounding the lower back like this, we're sitting up really nice and tall, using the muscles of the core all throughout the front and back of the body to keep the pelvis in a healthy position here. And again, maybe you stay right here, or on an exhale, you can start to hinge forward from the hips. Again, walking hands out towards the front of the mat before finding that edge of your range of motion, and then you can start to let the upper part of the spine round over the legs. The last full breath. Bring hands back down to the earth. Use the arms to press ourselves back up to that tall seat. And then walking the hands behind us a little bit, we'll just send the legs out long and kind of shake out the hips, rock out the legs. And now here, if you're sitting on a blanket, we'll just scoot our butt right off of the end so that the blanket is right up against our hips as we're seated. And you can fold it over once, maybe. Well, we'll actually bring it a little bit away from the seat. If you don't have a blanket, set it behind you. Go ahead and do that now. And then we're going to make our way onto our back. So we'll just send legs out long, laying kind of the mid part of the back over the blanket so that the chest is raised a little bit. Kind of play around with your positioning here. Should be underneath the shoulder blades, in between the shoulder blades and the lower back, anywhere that feels good. All right, and here we'll bend the knees first and just take a few gentle windshield wipers with the knees and our backs. And then bringing the soles of the feet together once again, finding that butterfly shape. Coming into a reclined Supta Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. And the arms here can rest on the body or alongside the torso or come up overhead. And this will be our last shape before Shavasana. So you start to think about slowing down the breath. Finding stillness. You can stay in your Supta Baddha Konasana as long as you would like. But if you're ready to move into a different shape for your final resting pose, I invite you to start making your way towards that now. Maybe sending arms and legs out long, readjusting your props in any way. Rolling the blanket under the knees in Shavasana can be a nice supportive way to use your props at hand. Or maybe finding that constructive rest pose, very gentle on the lower back. Or whatever other shape calls to you today. Once you're there, we'll close the eyes. Just allow the whole physical body to relax, release. And start to breathe some energy back into the body. Finding some small movements, the hands, the feet, rocking the head side to side, slowly reawakening the limbs. Then with a nice full inhale, we'll find that long body stretch, arms overhead. And then a full exhale to roll to one side or the other, taking a moment to rest and prepare for pressing up to a seated position, keeping the eyes closed. We'll bring hands to heart center. Just take a moment. Gratitude for an ability to take some time out of the day for our yoga practice. And for anyone else who may have practiced alongside us, regardless of where they are, And we'll inhale our thumbs to third eye center. And exhale to bow forward. Namaste. Thanks everybody for joining me. I will see you next Friday.